coffee on the Poisson. Now I'm off to Pevensey Castle this morning. I'm going to go and talk about a really fascinating subject of sea levels, because it's just come to my attention. People still don't quite understand what I'm talking about when it comes to the fact that the sea was higher a little while back, and so I'll try and explain that. It's some very obvious physical demonstration at the castle, so hopefully we'll see you there in a bit. So I've just arrived. Looks like quite an interesting place, but amazing church over there. Castle ruins just behind me. So I'm just gonna have a smoke and then head on in. So I'll see you. Got this cool little boat here again. Ah, okay, right. This picture actually shows it. So that is the old coastline. There's Pevensey Castle where we are now, and they're saying that river silting has changed the level of the sea here, and now it's sort of like down here somewhere. But I mean, rivers don't change the height of the sea unless they kind of like silt up in an area and then it deflects around it at the outlet of it. But that is, I mean, maybe that happened to some degree, but the sea levels were most definitely higher, so I need to explain that and then go through it. But let's go and have a look now. That is a cool little Viking boat someone's sculpted there. Right, here we are. Wow, it's massive. Look at that stonework. That's incredible. I think that's been standing for over 1,000 years. It's mad. They look like sandstone blocks, so there's obviously a quarry somewhere nearby. You see how much those ones at the bottom have weathered away, and some repairs have obviously been done. It's amazing that that's still standing though. Alright. Oh, okay. So down there is much lower. That there looks like the beginning of sort of where the castle comes from. I don't know whether or not the sea was just further out there, or it all came all the way through the lowlands over there. The reason that I'm bringing this up, like Mr. Pigeon, is that Lewis and Hamsey, I think, were in this. Basically, the same things happened there. So they've become landlocked. They were once ports, and now they're landlocked. And it's just a good demonstration of sea. It's a reminder we know ships are coming here. That Harold landed. Sorry, William the Conqueror landed. So yeah. So we're just getting into the actual castle itself now, coming through the main gates. I wonder how many cool people come through here. I'm guessing this is probably one of the only ways in. Maybe one more. Oh wow, it looks like you might be able to get up on the battlements. Yeah, cool. Okay. So let's start talking about it. Something called the Roman warm period occurred. So over the last 110,000 years, temperatures have been mostly steadily increasing, and that happened quite like heavily. It went up a lot more in the Roman period. Wow, trebuchet stones, look at that. There's those massive slings that hooked them in. Cool, Jesus. One of them hitting you. Christ. Maybe one of them did hit someone. Who knows? But anyway, yeah, the Roman warm period came, and the sea levels were rising at that period, and all the way up to about 1100, 1200, maybe a bit later, but we're not quite sure. And then suddenly we had an incredibly cold period. So cold that the Thames in London froze over solidly, regularly, to the point at which the ice was so thick that they could hold bonfires on there. So the temperature dropped massively, and it's coined as a kind of mini ice age. But then, because of that mini ice age, sea levels dropped again. They were about, I think they say it's somewhere between, see, I've read a lot of different opinions on this. So some people say a foot, others say 10 feet, others say 30 centimetres. Regardless, if you look up all of the information on how little the sea would need to rise to completely reclaim certain areas of land. It doesn't really make much difference. Even a 30-centimetre rise would would flood back all of these areas, even at that level. And that is coming. It will recur. You know, that blatantly will. We've got a lot of solar activity going on at the moment. The temperature is rising, and yeah, you can expect that the sea will rise again. And it will then reflood all these tidal areas. This will become once again by the sea, as will Lewis and as will Hamsey, and then we'll get to see all of the old levels. And I think in this area they only blame river silting for it. I think it kind of seems to go against the narrative of this steadily increasing climate change. That has never been any difference, it's just going up. Well, that's not true. Obviously human beings have had a massive impact on the world, especially modern day world. I say human beings, just a few industrious bastards that are blaming everyone else for their mess. But yeah. Oh wow, God, this feels old. Ooh, I just got a really spooky feeling. Ooh. Oh, wow. Oh, things went on in here. Good God. Whew. Look at these awesome mouldings. Oh, wow, this has got an amazing feeling to it. Quite be incredible to camp out here for a night. Let's see what happens. Oh, yeah, I can. That's funny. Even though the sea's not there, I get this sense of it being there. Oh, this is really cool. What a place. Yeah, this has got some weird vibes in here. You have to come here yourself. I'd say some intense events happened in here. Oh, how weird. Alright, I'm off. I'm going up. God, you can actually see how fucking difficult it would have been to hit somebody with a bow and arrow here. Although, mind you, in order for them to hit you, or even for you to hit them, I know you do get quite a good view either side. That's interesting. So yeah, they had a narrow slot to hit at, and if they were just a tiny bit off. You can imagine if it was windy as well, like how difficult it would have been to try and shoot through that gap, whereas shooting out of it, you could not. But they still lost. So yeah, we have William the Conqueror coming over from France in 1066 right to here on his ships with God knows how many troops, and they took this place. This is where they landed. I don't know actually, even if they did take it, I don't know enough of the history here to kind of be sure of anything. They might have already had it, and then from there staged their attack of Britain, because Battle's not very far away, and that's where the Battle of Hastings took place. So yeah, I might even go over there later on. I think they've worked out now that it wasn't in the field that they've always thought it was. It's in some other field. They found all the evidence of it, archaeology of it. Oh look, there's the sea. We can actually see the sea now. God, it is a long way away, so this gives you a very good idea of just how far away the sea is now. And just as, but all of that down there is also Pevensey, so that whole bit, unless that's on a slight rise as well, I really don't know. They say this was like a harbour. It's kind of complicated. The fact of the matter is the sea levels were a bit higher, and it flooded this entire valley, allowing the ships of William to get here, literally dock here. So how did that happen if the sea is over there? And you can't just blame river silting. It just doesn't make any sense. I know it's inconvenient, but you know, humans are making a big impact on the environment too, so why they'd bother not talking about this, I really don't understand. Perhaps they just don't want people to find all these inland amazing areas, and I don't understand. Either that or they've just got it completely wrong. This is often the case. I haven't got much respect for archaeology anymore, sadly. Some of them are really fantastic people, but I kind of feel like a lot of them are just in a club maintaining the status quo of everything they've already said. And it does feel very much like a kind of agreement amongst them. This is what we're teaching, this is what we know, nothing is changing regarding that. But that's just not the way the world works. Like, people misinterpret things all the bloody time, as we well know. I'm going to go over there to see what that is. It looks like a church, pretty cool church. I'm going to run over there and see what's going on there, unless there's anything left in here. It's a pretty cool place though here, I've got to say. I love being in those old places. That basement down there had the most amazing feeling to it. You've got to come here to feel like yourself. See you in a moment. So I'm just going to walk down to that chapel over on the far distance over there. I won't bore you with that journey, so I'll see you there. There's your problem, love. Bit of a crack in your wall. It's going to be a pricey one to fix that. Check this beautiful plant out. Yeah, that is one gorgeous cottage. Look at that. Dreamland. One day. One of the smallest openings for a footpath I've ever seen. Let's have a look at this church. This looks quite interesting and old, I'm guessing. It's a similar sort of age to the castle, but I don't know unless I find any information out on it. God, it's beautiful though. Big. That is a big church compared to the ones in Lewis. Even St Michael's at the top of the hill in Lewis is not as big as this. This is almost cathedral-like. There aren't going to be any gravestones old enough to explain to us, I doubt. Another little trip around the realms of dead people. God, this is a big church. Oh wow, this graveyard extends all the way through. That's lovely. Always found burial a bit odd when I was younger. And now, I don't so much. It's funny. I always sort of thought, oh no, I don't want my body popped under the ground, covered in earth and just left there. But you're dead. Your body isn't moving. I don't know. You know, there's like, I don't know anymore with sort of, well, I'd prefer a cremation burial. I mean, I'd really prefer like a Viking funeral. That'd be incredible. Yeah, burn me on a hill somewhere in a big funeral pyre and get it over with. But, oh look, there's your yew tree. Ah. That's an old one. So this is where the pagans would have hung their tokens, because these things are very old. They grow very slowly, which is why they were used for longbows. High mountain yew, because the rings grow slower, because there's slightly less oxygen, which means they're more densely packed, which means they've got more whip. And I think it's the same for Stradivarius violins. It was something to do with that. I don't know if it was you though, I don't think it was, but it was a similar thing, smaller ring growth. Hello pigeon. And that allowed a higher ring tone on the violins. But yeah, these things are absolutely amazing. The pagans worship them because they are kind of semi-immortal. They kind of are immortal, really. You know, just this version. Maybe we all are. Whole Earth, everything, universal, made up of the same stuff, isn't it? Atoms, and as far as we know. So perhaps we just never really die. Just transform like a butterfly. Hopefully. Don't want to go from butterfly to slug, do you? That would be pretty sucky. God, this is an amazing job. Well, obviously this is locked, I think. Oh no, it's not. Amazing. this is massive. They're so quiet, churches. So quiet. It's lovely. The quiet rooms there in the quiet church. I always think of this. It's very interesting. Aquila, the Roman eagle. I think this is a link back to sort of like Catholicism, but often these lecterns are eagles. They're like the people that are obviously taking charge and talking. Oh wow, look at this stained glass window up here. Thou art the King of glory of Christ. All the saints, St John, Malachi, Isaiah, King David. Oh, they're the 12 apostles. Oh, look, St George is there though. I don't think he was. Maybe it's just saints. Yeah, it's just all the saints. St Francis, St Jerome, St Augustine, St Ambrose. They're actually incredibly good pictures as well, aren't they? Who's that over there? He looks like Merlin. Oh, is that the Venerable Bede? I think it is. St Awan. That's interesting that Bede looks like Merlin in there. You heard all of the stories of Ambrosius Malinus, Saint Germain. Maybe you haven't. That's well worth looking up. Maybe Bede. God, this is a beautiful church. Let's talk about one thing because it's quite important. Because in this church, I've found two so far really beautiful stained glass depictions of St George. And look at this beauty. This is an absolute cracker. So yes, St George, as far as I know, was de-sanctified. I don't even know if that's a thing. By the Catholic Church, they basically said that he never existed, so St George's Day doesn't exist anymore. So I was like, oh. Okay, that's a random declaration to make. But anyway, I think from what I've read, he was like a Roman soldier who went to Turkey and fought a dragon and killed it, saving some girl. That's the story. He was very venerated by medieval people. They always used to say God and St George when they went off to battle. But I'm certain, well, I'm not certain, but I'm pretty sure it was his Komodo dragon. So I don't know if any of you have watched the little video I put up of the oldest globe map in the world is on an ostrich egg, and up near Japan you've got a little place called Komodo Island, and on this map the very first reference of Ichhunt Draconis, Ixunt or something like that, basically means here are dragons, is on Komodo Island. So that really adds a massive amount of weight for me. So people, it was written that dragons were on Komodo Island, and then I thought they were brought over here, and I've got a feeling that the Romans used them as tools of fear. They brought elephants over, they brought vast amounts of other strange exotic animals over, that's all known. And then there's this really weird thing with Gideon Mantle, who happened to find something called an iguanodon, which just so happens to be exactly the same bone structure as a Komodo dragon. And I'm wondering whether it ever was, or it was just a knucker that was in Lewis. But anyway, St George was probably real, probably fought a Komodo dragon. And yeah, what do? Yeah, all of these myths, everything comes from somewhere. It's not just whipped out of thin air. Even if it is, it's from a memory of a story of something. It all gets linked in somewhere along the line. The power of stories is absolutely the power of humanity. That's magic. Storytelling is magic. I just can't get over how beautiful this cottage is. It is so lovely.